Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Alright, more customers are getting their new Osborne 4680 Model Ys. It's here. It really happened. Tesla produced and delivered 4680 vehicles, except they released them rather coy, without even any official specifications. However, there are plenty of enthused new Tesla 4680 Model Y owners who are doing their best to help spill the beans about this revolutionary new automobile. Thanks to them, we're able to place together some bits and pieces, and we've gone through our discoveries in the past, so much so, we're now once again at a crossroads. By now, we do have a pretty good idea of the usable battery size for the new model, at around 68 kilowatt hours. But as far as the battery size, that's all we really know. We know that this car can be charged up to 68 kilowatt hours, and then drive around 280 miles on that charge. There also does not appear to be warnings about charging the battery to 100%, and a lot of people are potentially thinking this battery can now go from 0 to 100% charge. This would mean huge breakthroughs in battery degradation. Due to the fact it really being so impressive, it may be unlikely, and perhaps that the other 20% or so of the battery is actually software locked instead. In fact, the Model Y owner from the YouTube channel Spoken Reviews was very much of the thought that there would be a software upgrade available to unlock more range. Software upgrades in a car. Pay a bit extra after point of purchase and improve your product after the fact. Not really a thing with traditional auto. Imagine buying a new BMW, then deciding it's not quite quick enough. Oh, I wish I spent that little bit extra to get the faster version. Well, in the Tesla, you can. You don't have to commit to that larger price tag initially. Buy the car you can afford now, and perhaps one day later, when you've saved a bit more, you can upgrade your car. Except, I mean upgrade your actual current car, increase the acceleration or the range, or unlock other features. Wow, that really is cool, perfect for every consumer. It would likely mean that everyone who buys the standard version now will most likely one day upgrade it to the long range of in time. This is a new style of supply and demand curve. Demand is based on what consumers can afford at the time. But if you launch products that are simply missing a few features at lower cost, and over time you can add to them, then that would create a demand jump. Honestly, this business is really starting to break some of the traditional molds in so many senses of the word. Alright, everyone understands how a Tesla upgrade would work, and we can even back that up with something that they have done in the past as well. You were previously able to upgrade your Model X from a 60D to a 70D. Yeah, it's a really cool pricing model to buy a new car. And like I said, I'm sure within soon enough time, the majority of them are likely to upgrade anyway. But that's within time. What about right now? What are we facing right now? Battery and cell shortage. Tesla are battery constrained. Not only that, it's not a temporary issue, it's going to be all decade. So why on earth would Tesla waste perfectly good 4680 cells in every vehicle that may not ever be used? Right, and this is one of the theories for offering a standard range version from Texas and maybe only 690 cells, simply due to the fact they can probably produce about 30% more vehicles that way. We want to get as many EVs out as possible, so this would be in line with the mission. Except, what if the mission was a bigger scale, and Tesla need a lot of money for it? And therefore it is in Tesla's best interest to actually make vehicles that make as much profit as possible, rather than replace as many ICE vehicles as possible, at least for now. Then said profits are used where they can make more of an impact in developing nations. Currently the Tesla community can't decide on whether this car even has 690 or 828 4680 cells in it. When we start looking at the usable battery size and the estimated energy from the 4680 cells, then they match a 690 cell battery pack. Yet we haven't seen such a thing. In fact, everywhere we look, Tesla seem to be showing a full 828 cell count, 12 columns of 69 cells. I think when it comes to situations like this, sometimes it can be best to let go of all preconceived ideas and expectations, and instead just look around at what we actually have, as this may just be it. What do we have? An 828 cell battery with a 68 kilowatt hour usable battery and 280 miles of range. Alright, but if Tesla have 828 4680 cells and still only produce 68 kilowatt hours, well that's not great. It means each cell is producing just 89 watt hours, whereas a 2170 cell produced 18 watt hours. Implying the 4680 cells are slightly less energy dense than the current 2170 cells. These are the cells themselves, and as the 4680 cells have a lower weight to kilowatt hour due to a larger cell design, this is at the cell level. If we incorporate the battery pack, then it all changes, as the 4680 is using a structural pack. Alright, this is the first mass-produced EV battery cell using a nickel cathode without cobalt, so it had to start somewhere. but this was quite a bit lower than we expected. Hence the theory Tesla were using 17% fewer cells at just 690 cells. I think that this is potentially a low enough energy density to perhaps assume that Tesla may be locking some of the potential here with software. But why? After everything we just said about battery constraints? Well, I'll tell you. Why lock out a percentage of your products when they could be out in another vehicle being sold to customers making massive profits? Well, I have some ideas. With a larger battery pack, there are actual physics at play still. A larger battery pack is more efficient at regenerative braking. The same for charging. A larger battery can charge faster. A larger battery pack needs to be charged fewer times, meaning less degradation. But I think there may be one other major reason. It's in its description. We call it a structural battery pack, but what was it called on Battery Day? Cell to vehicle integration. The operative word being cell. The cell is the structure of the vehicle. Now what happens when you start removing cells from the structure? It will compromise the integrity of the structure. There needs to be 828 cells there, which is actually a fewer number than the initial Battery Day cells. So perhaps Tesla have made improvements since, as we would hope and expect. Still though, if that is the case, then it's just stupid for Tesla to make all those cells with the jelly roll inside. They should just make some empty cells. Well, although we say Tesla are battery constrained, it's actually cell constrained. If they were to make empty cells as well, then for one, that would add major complexity to an already, well, most likely most advanced manufacturing line in the world, or at least up with TSMC. If you suddenly start making empty cells as well, then that will add massively to the complexity. Not only in the actual production of them, but then also you need to then keep each dummy cell separate from a jelly roll cell. From there, you would somehow need to make sure all the dummy cells were on the outside of the battery pack for better weight distribution and safety. This is not happening. It's already difficult enough, but like I said, Tesla are cell constrained. If you start making empty cells, then that is a waste of a cell case and manufacturing process. You have serious opportunity costs here. Every empty cell is the opportunity cost of a jelly roll cell. When you factor that in, a dummy cell process would slow down manufacturing too much. It would not be worth any potential cost savings. Tesla need to pump these cells out fast. They don't have time to mess around with a ton of empty ones as well. But what about savings with dummy cells? Well, what if it actually wasn't even saving? What if software locking the battery actually meant more profit for Tesla? Okay, we're somewhat assuming here that Tesla are wasting all these extra cells and lost profits on more auto sales. Well, we are talking about a software upgrade here. It's a paid-for upgrade. We're back to thinking potentially an 80 kilowatt hour battery here now. Possibly more for all we know, or if not, it will be one day. Yes, remember, this will all be future-proof too. Even if the software upgrade is not possible now, eventually Tesla will have energy-dense cells enough for this to be a possibility. And like I said, reducing the number of cells may not be an option for structure, and dummy cells are not an option for manufacturing. So let's say the standard Model Y is $60,000. Soon enough, that will be 40% profit margin, or $24,000 gross profit. Now add a 68 kilowatt hour battery, that comes in at $350 gross profit per kilowatt hour. Now, if there is an additional 12 kilowatt hours or so there to unlock, then you might assume we're up to around 330 miles of range, similar to the current long-range version. Well, what if 50% of customers eventually upgraded? And let's say it's only $5,000 to upgrade. That would mean you only get an extra $2,500 gross profit average per vehicle. 50% of customers paying an additional $5,000. That means you profit $2,500 from those additional 12 kilowatt hours, or $208 per kilowatt hour. Well, we know we can get $350 per kilowatt hour for a whole vehicle. Therefore, we're better off actually making more cars for profit. Well, as far as gross profit is concerned, perhaps. But hey, even BYD can make gross profits on EVs. How about what actually matters? Well, if we take a 20% operating margin, then we actually only produce about $175 operating income per kilowatt hour. Now, any software upgrades, they don't add to the cost of goods sold. So they go straight to operating income, i.e. we said $208 over $175. So it is actually more profitable to sell cars with unused cells. Of course, this was based on a take rate of 50% and just $5,000 for the upgrade. But who knows, Tesla might even say $5,000 for a 300-mile range upgrade, or $10,000 for 330 miles. Essentially, I think that there is more than an average of $2,500 per vehicle to be made with software upgrades here. I would say a long-range upgrade would cost more than the 2170 version as to not create the Osborne effect, and same deal for having this lower-cost model in the first place. But why are Tesla trying to profit from us so much? I thought they were the good guys, and isn't the mission to replace as many EVs as possible? Well, these profits will be used to invest in developing nations so they can also have clean transport, and it will do that much more for the mission than it could in the US. Now, one thing that is very good news if this is 828 cells over 690 cells, well, you know what it means, right? It means the battery pack is that much heavier than we thought. 138 cells heavier to be exact, and at 355 grams per cell, that's an extra 50 kilograms of weight saving the structural pack is creating. I also have some theories on how to work out a figure on how much weight the pack is potentially saving. Then, just as I was finishing this video, Dylan Loomis from Electrified says he has information from an insider. Supposedly, they're saying that there are 828 cells in the pack too, which is potentially more confirmation on what we're saying here. They also claim that the charging is software limited, just like we assumed, which is good news, and we're all curious to find out just how fast this battery will charge. Dylan says that Tesla are cell constrained and not software locking range. However, when he says this, I think it was his opinion, not insider information. His opinion being that Tesla are cell constrained and wouldn't want to waste unused cells that could be used to produce more vehicles. However, we have just explained as to why this may indeed be the case. Okay, there sure was a lot of food for thought here. I'm pretty sure that these cars are going to have 828 cells, which does mean the energy density could be understandably disappointing, but this is just the start. It's very early days. We don't know what we have here yet, but it looks like Tesla are going to pull it off. Of course, we have our software locking theories too, which could be very exciting. I guess we just have to keep waiting to see. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.